What is going on, guys, and welcome to CSS tutorial. And in this video we're going to talk about z-index property and how we can actually do some cool things with it. So let's say over here that I have a heading over here. You can see that it says nice, and I have the Walmart picture with the lovely lady who's, I don't know what she's wearing, but it looks very cool. So but let's say that I would want to move this heading within this picture, right? So how would I do that? Well, the first thing that I would want to probably do, I would want to open the quick edit over here, and I would want to move this picture all the way to the top. So what I would do over here, I would say position, and I would say that the position is going to be absolute, and I would say that I would want to move all the way to the top. So I'm just going to set the top, let's say to 0, right? 0 pixels. However, you can see that right now it's covering this whole picture, right? Well, here's the deal. We have actually a property called z-index that affects how we see the object. So what I'm going to do over here, you can see that if I set this z-index for this picture, it's actually going to be appearing after the heading over here. So heading would be appearing first because I set the z-index negative. However, obviously, if I would set the z-index 3 over here, you can see that it still would do the same thing, but it would be covering. And let me show you what we can do with an actual heading over here. So you can see that I'm sitting right now with my image behind it because the z-index is negative. And I'm going to save it over here. And let's go over to the heading. And I'm going to do quick edit over here. And I'm going to also apply a new rule. And I'm going to say that I want position to be relative over here. And I'm just going to move this text around a little bit. Because I'm using the position relative, you can see that right now I'm going to be moving this text relative to where it's sitting right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say that I want to move it from the top, let's say 100 pixels over here. And let's say that I want to move it from the left. I would want to move it, I don't know, like 50 pixels, right? So you can see that I actually can position wherever I would want this element by using the z-index and also applying to whatever we learned from relative and absolute. Now I'm going to give you one more example. I'm just going to delete this right now so it's not in our way, and I'm going to go to our main CSS and also going to delete this because this is going to, so it wouldn't skew our view. And I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to show you how we can do a div banner. And I'm going to give it ID, and I'm going to give it ID banner over here. And within that div, we're just going to create, well, I don't know, let's say 3 more divs, right? And I'm just going to say that the ID is going to be, let's say 1, and I'm just going to create this, and I'm just going to copy this 2 more times. Here I'm going to write 3, and here I'm going to, well, sorry, no, here I'm going to write 3. And here I'm going to write second over here like this. Second. So now we have 3 divs, which we obviously, well, 4 divs, but 3 within 1 div, but we can't obviously see anything. So the first thing that I would want to do is actually I want to do again the ruling. So I'm going to create a new rule, and I would want to say that I would want this div to have a width of, let's say, 100% over here. Then I would want to be height, like, let's say 200 pixels. And I would want it to be a border over here, let's say 3 pixels, solid, let's say black, very basic. But because I'm going to be placing these divs and actually moving them around, I'm going to do the position relative because I want to contain all my divs, right? So I'm going to say position, and I'm going to say that it's relative. So it would hold all these divs that are within. So I'm just going to save this over here, and we're going to start styling the div that has ID number 1. So I create a new rule, and I say that I would want this div to be, let's say, right now, what? 100 pixels by 100 pixels over here. And I would want this to be like background color, let's say red, right? So I have a background color red. And what I'm going to do over here, I'm just going to also apply a absolute positioning. So I'm going to write position. And it's going to be absolute over here like this, and I'm going to say that it's going to be bottom 0, bottom I want 0, and left is going to, let's say for this case, it's just going to stay pretty much the same way, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this over here over here. I'm gonna save this. So I just go over here to the second div, click quick edit, set a new rule, and I'm gonna paste this over here. So now you can see that it has the same thing, but I'm just gonna, let's say, change the background color. I'm gonna say blue, but I'm just gonna move it a little bit to the left. So let's say that at left position would be, let's say, I don't know, 25 pixels, right? So now you can see that I have these two boxes over here, but one is overlaying the other one, right? And let's add another one. What I'm gonna do is, again, I'm just gonna go over here and I'm just gonna copy this. I'm gonna close this one over here, click quick edit, set a new rule, and I'm gonna do the same thing. However, here I'm just gonna say that it's gonna be 50 pixels over here, and the background color is gonna be green. So pretty basic colors, right? And what you can see is what's happening is right now these divs are sitting like this, right? However, what if I would want to change around some stuff? What if I would say right now that you can see that this div is last and it's pretty much blocking, let's say, this blue one, right? So I'm just going to save this right now, like here, like this, and I'm going to go to the second one. And you know what? I'm going to say, listen, I want to change the Z index over here, and I want the Z index, let's say, to be 1. So you can see right away how it covered and how it appears in front of the green one, even though it should be other way around, right, by default, because we added this element on top of that, right? So this is how Z index works. And the same thing we can do over here. Let's say right now I'm just going to leave this Z index, I'm going to leave it intact. But if I go to the first one, and let's say that if I would want to change the Z index over here, I could do the same thing. So I'm going to say Z index, and I'm just going to say 1, and you can see how it covers right away both of them. So the main point is you can play around with the Z index, and actually it changes the where the actual element is appearing. That even though by default it should be some element maybe sitting on top of your element that you would want to move, you can actually use the Z index and it would appear first. This is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.